Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? I'd love to welcome you to the We Win podcast, powered by Accelerate Her Africa, in partnership with the Human Pattern Institute. Today's guest is Nwaokolo, a Tech Woman 100 award winner who's transforming healthcare through data at Mid Cheshire Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. Anne doesn't just analyze numbers. She creates insights that save lives. She mentors the next generation through Next Tech Girls, trains digital health professionals across Africa, and represents at the UN Commission on the Status of Women. From hospital wards to global platforms, Anne proves that when purpose meets skills, impact becomes inevitable. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Nwaokolo. Anne, we're so excited to have you here with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Lolita. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here today.
Awesome. So, Anne, you had a long, successful career in banking in Nigeria, rising to a senior role at FirstBank. You then made the incredibly brave decision to start a new career in healthcare data analytics in the UK. For the woman listening who is contemplating a reinvention like yours, but feels overwhelmed, what was the first practical step you took to turn the abstract idea of change into a concrete project?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Now that I think about it, to be honest, when I decided that I wanted to change careers or make a switch, I didn't exactly have a plan mapped out or a strategy, to be honest. A number of factors played out, and one of them was my personality. I'm someone that likes to do different things. I like to try things. I'm always trying things. If I see a recipe, for example, online, I want to try to make it when I get home. Do you understand? So it was out of that me trying to do something new as usual. That's where it started from. And then there was something else that also happened. So I had worked as a banker for many years. I had a successful career as a banker, right? But I just kept feeling like I wasn't making enough impact. Right. And I kept feeling like I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. And I think that was one of the main things that pushed me, because I just felt I could be doing something more out there, making a difference, or just helping people generally. I love to help people. And I just felt I wasn't fulfilling my purpose, and that also played out. And then curiosity also played out there. I was very curious about data and how the little things that you do every day can be put together as data, and you can use it to tell a story. I was working as a customer service person then, and we had like scorecards that used to be sent to us every month. And I would see our activity, or how many accounts have we opened, how many e-channels have we migrated customers into, things like that. And it was just interesting, just seeing how the data of our daily task was put together and how it could just show us our performance at the end of the month. So I didn't really know too much about data analytics then, but I just got really curious about learning more about it. And I also felt I would do well in it because I had worked as a customer service person. I had analyzed data one way or the other. Even if I wasn't particularly a data analyst, I would do reports and measure my performance and everything. So it wasn't like a straight pathway for me. And I just first started by doing a course. I wanted to be a data analyst, right? As of then, I didn't think about healthcare. I just wanted to start a career as a data analyst. And I started researching about what data analysts do, what's the future of jobs for a data analyst. And I saw that there was a lot of potential. I had read a report by the World Economic Forum. They had talked about how the technology is evolving, how data roles, there are more opportunities coming up for people in data. And I felt, wow, something that has a lot of prospects and of which I know I'll do well would really be good for me. So, and then I stumbled on a course on Coursera. It was an IBM data science professional certificate. I think as of then I was paying $35 a month, and I started doing the course. and it was a self-paced course and you could finish whenever you could. So I just tried to speed it up, and it was supposed to last for 6 months, but I ended up doing it for, I think, about 4 months. And I found it really interesting, the IBM Data Science Professional Certificate course. And it was something that exceeded my expectations, because I didn't think it was something that serious when I started it. But by the time I was done with it, there was like a capstone project where you had to do like Python analysis to analyze, you get data, do a presentation. And it was really intense. And after I did that and seeing how well I did with it, I knew that it was really a career that I wanted to pursue. And then I started doing like data analytics on the side. Even while working full time, I was taking up challenges here and there. I would come back home every day, do some analysis and just show my work basically. And that was how I started until I got to the point where I now decided I was going to go for my master's in data analytics. And I resigned from my job then just to take up a career full time in data analytics. And then I went on to do my master's. And after then was when I decided to work in healthcare.
Wow, that is such a profound journey, really roundabout way, starting from banking and then moving into data analytics. But it's also that you felt you weren't living your purpose and you wanted to make a difference. So with data analytics, presumably you were looking at solving problems, real life problems, to make a difference. I'm really wowed by your story because it's a journey, and I think a lot of people will learn that it's never straightforward. So I just wanted to ask, were you studying these courses while you were banking in Nigeria, or was it just after you left for the UK?
So all of this happened before I left Nigeria. The point when I left Nigeria was when I wanted to do my master's in data analytics. I wanted to study in a very good university and earn my master's in data analytics. So all the things I did, like the course I did in IBM and all the challenges I was taking up, I was still in Nigeria when I was doing that. I still had my job full time when I was doing all of that. It was when I knew that I didn't want to be a banker anymore. I wanted to do something different. That was when I decided to go for a master's in data analytics, because I felt like that would just hit the nail on the head. Like, this is it. Once I have a master's, it's easier for me to get a good job as a data analyst in any organization, basically.
Well, speaking of your master's, you earned a master's in data analytics and multiple technical certifications. What was your strategy for balancing the demands of upskilling with the rest of your life? And how did you stay motivated when the learning curve felt steep?
Wow, balance. Was there really a balance? Honestly, it was a whole roller coaster, if I'm being honest, because being a banker in Nigeria, you had to work really long hours. And I just knew that what I wanted to do. I think the thing that was just driving me is just knowing that I had somewhere I was going. I had a target, I had a goal what I wanted to achieve. And that kind of like pushed me. So regardless of all the challenges around me, I just stayed focused in what I wanted to achieve. So every day after work, most of the training sessions, because after my IBM Data Science Professional Certificate, I did a business intelligence certification with an organization here in the UK. It was online, but I started that training while I was in Nigeria and while I was still working as a banker. Nice. And most of the training sessions were done like at night, like maybe from 7 or 8 p.m. So after I get back home from work, I had a small office that I created just in my room. I would go to my small office and I would do my training, join training. Sometimes I would even join late, because when I get home, I have to make dinner, I have to look after the kids and do some stuff before I join the training. So I would do all of that. And then we had assignments as well. And then I was juggling my work, my family life, and then I was just doing my training. But I just kept staying focused, because I knew that when I started doing challenges, I mentioned that I used to do challenges. I would spend some hours doing the challenges. People would ask me, "Oh, are you getting paid for this?" I'd be like, "No, this is how I can build experience. So I just had a direction somewhere that I was going, and that kind of like kept me motivated because I knew what I wanted to achieve. So regardless of having to look after my kids and my husband and everything, I just like stayed focused because I knew I was going somewhere, and it kind of like helped me. So I would say I can't really say there was a balance, but I did my best to ensure that no area of my life suffered because I was still doing my job diligently the way I was expected to do it. I was focused on my data analytics career and my training and the challenges I was doing to build my skills. And at the same time, I was still there for my family when they needed me.
So what I'm hearing is drive, passion. That's really what kept you going and kept you motivated. But I do see the balance because you still managed to cater to your family, your career, and get as far as you did. So there was a balance there. Okay, so imposter syndrome is a real challenge when entering a new field. Can you talk about a moment when you felt it most acutely? And what was the one thing you did to remind yourself that you belonged in your new role?
Okay, so the major ones that I'll talk about. So when I started learning data analytics, I experienced imposter syndrome on different occasions. And there were two major ones that I would really like to talk about. The first one was when I started working on challenges. So on LinkedIn, I have like a community that I joined just to help to build my skills. Because when I did most of the training that I did, I didn't really have a direction or where to face after doing the training, because it's one thing to do training, it's another thing to build your skills. So I joined some communities like on LinkedIn where they used to do data challenges. Every month they will post data, they'll share data where you just take the data, do your analysis, and then present your dashboard. And then sometimes I would take my time to do a dashboard. And then people used to just post their stuff like on LinkedIn and what their work and everything. And sometimes I would take my time to do a dashboard, but I would not be confident enough to even share my work like publicly. Like when I would see I'll just see some people's amazing work. I'll be like, wow, no, I can't. I don't think mine is good enough. I just kept telling myself mine is good enough. And then one day I just said to myself, I'm not even an experienced data analyst. I'm just someone who's learning. There's nothing wrong if I post my work and someone says anything about it. I'm just learning. Over time, I will become better. And I just built that confidence. And one day I just posted my work. And I was amazed at how many comments I got, the feedback, the impressions that post really got. And then it kind of like gave me confidence to share my work more. And from then on, I just started building my courage, like to show my work more. And then another time when I feel it's important I talk about this one, because this was when I really experienced imposter syndrome. When I started my career in healthcare, remember I said I started my career like as a data analyst, but I didn't really think I was going to work in healthcare. It started off from an experience that I had when I visited a hospital. Then I decided I wanted to work in healthcare. Now, working in healthcare was a totally different experience from what I had ever done. I was coming from being a banker. I had a bachelor's degree in accounting before I started my career as a banker. And most of everything that I had done before then was finance related. So I just kind of like dived into healthcare, no clinical experience. I didn't know much about clinical terms or anything like that. And just coming into healthcare, I was working in an organization where there was a lot going on. It just felt to me, everybody knew what they were doing. Everybody just looked so smart to me. And I was just there not really knowing much. And then in the healthcare sector, like in the UK, when you're working in healthcare, they use a lot of acronyms. And when you just come, someone can just tell you something like, oh, put the DCN in the prompts. And you're just wondering, what are they even saying? So at some point I was asking myself, am I in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? But because I knew that this was what I wanted, like I was working as a healthcare analyst and I knew that my job was going to help to improve the lives of people. It made me determined to help myself to do better at my job. Now, what did I do? I started doing a lot of research. After a meeting, I'll write down some things that had been mentioned that I probably did not know about. I would go do some search. and see what they're talking about. And before the next meeting, I will prepare myself, read up things if I need to read it up, so that by the time I'm having a meeting, I know that I'm ready. I have the information. I know what they're talking about. I'm not lost. So I think things like that, doing things like that, researching things, Googling things, making sure I'm reading about stuff before I have my meetings, or even when I'm giving tasks, just kind of like helped me gain confidence. And that was how I was able to overcome it, because I knew that I can do this. And the more I read about stuff, the more I knew that, oh, this is not even that difficult. And it just kind of like built my confidence. And I knew that, yeah, this is it. I can do this. And I was able to. And that's why even now in my current role, every day I'm learning new things. I'm always open to learning, because that's one way for you to beat imposter syndrome. If you have a spirit that wants to learn, you would always have that confidence, knowing that you can actually learn anything that you want to.
Yeah. You've mentioned two examples about where you experience imposter syndrome. The first one being, in the beginning, you didn't give yourself a break. You felt that you had to be experienced enough, you have to be knowledgeable enough to post your own data analytics on LinkedIn. And that was because you felt intimidated by the others. But, we ought to give ourselves a break. Your second example is coming into this sector where you have no knowledge and all the acronyms, but you decided that you were going to be intentional and do some research and find out more about the sector that you're in. And these are the things that women need to understand. We need to, and not just women, everybody, we need to research, study, understand the trends, understand the context of which we're working. So you did the right thing. So this wasn't just a career change for you. It was a move towards a new kind of purpose. In a powerful LinkedIn post, you wrote, "There are not many careers where your spreadsheet might directly influence patients' outcomes." What was the moment you realized you wanted your work to matter on that deeply human level?
Thank you for this question, because I feel like this is really important to me. So the point when I started my career in data analytics, I mentioned before that I didn't think I was going to work in healthcare. So something happened on a particular day. I visited the hospital. So when I was doing my master's, I visited the hospital one day, and I went to A&E, and I was there for a couple of hours. I was there for at least 10 hours waiting to see a doctor. It was at that point that it hit me. Like, I was just seeing everybody, people coming in and people going, children everywhere around me. And I just kept wondering, again, my curiosity, I just kept wondering, what could be making people stay this long? Why do we have to wait 10 hours to see a doctor? What's really, and I was a master's student then. So I finally saw a doctor, and then I went home, but I kept reflecting on it, like, what really could have been the issue? Why do we have to stay that long? Like, trying to understand the whole dynamics. And then I was preparing for my final project then, trying to choose a project topic. So it kind of like inspired me to write my project around patient wait time. I chose a topic, the use of predictive analytics in assisting the reduction of patient wait time. Just to do a little bit of research on how things like predictive analytics have been used like within the healthcare sector, right? And in the healthcare sector, people are visiting the hospital. Everybody wants to get good quality care. Everybody wants to feel better when they visit the hospital. So at that point, when I started doing that project, I just felt like I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be part of a system that works towards transforming healthcare. Basically, I wanted to make a contribution, my own contribution towards helping to improve the lives of patients. How can the wait time be reduced, for example? How do we attend to patients to the point that everybody feels better when they come to the hospital rather than their condition getting worse? Right. Remember when I said that when I started my career, I felt like I wasn't making an impact or I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. All of that came together at that point, because I knew that, yes, I want to do something that I know that when I go to work every day, my work is actually helping to improve the life of somebody out there. And that's one of the things I enjoy. Even now, one of the things I enjoy about my job role, when I do my job, what exactly is the main purpose of what I'm doing? What I'm doing is helping to transform the healthcare system. Healthcare is something that is essential for everybody. It's so important. and being a part of a system that works towards improving the lives of people or helping to support when people go to the hospital. I work on things like patient-reported outcome, for example, where we ask people how the treatment that they got was. Do they feel better? Do they feel worse? So just knowing that my work is making that kind of impact on someone gives me a lot of joy, because I know that at the end of the day, I'm just not earning my salary. I'm actually doing something impactful.
Yeah. You just gave me goosebumps there, because it just shows how you were seeking your purpose, and through seeking it, you found it in using your data analytical skills to solve a problem and ultimately providing better care for patients that were waiting in hospitals. For those of us who aren't data scientists, can you bring your work to life? Could you share a story of how an insight you uncovered in the data led to a real, tangible improvement in a patient's journey or a hospital's efficiency?
Yeah. So I was talking about, so in healthcare, there's a lot that we do in healthcare as data scientists or as data analysts. From tracking things like patient-reported outcome, which is just like surveys or questionnaires sent out to patients to talk about how their treatment has been and how they're feeling after they receive certain treatments. We analyze things like that just to see exactly what the impact we have on patients. Now, apart from that, we do other things. Like in my current job role now, we do things like capacity and demand, for example, where we are basically predicting if we have the resources to attend to patients. So we basically track activity levels. Maybe in the last couple of years, you're checking activity, or how many patients have you seen? How many referrals did you have? Did you have to accept your referrals? How many patients did you have discharged? And then we check it against the resources we have, the staff. Do we have the required staff? So we check all of that so that we're able to predict that in the following year or in the following years, we would have the required resources. So capacity and demand is something that I do. And so I work in community service, right? And we have a number of services under the community, like things like physiotherapy, podiatry, all those kind of services. And each one of them, the way they run their services is very different. So, and then we check the capacity, or how many do we have enough nurses? Do we have enough clinicians that are attending to these people? And those capacity and demand models, we create predictive models, help us to determine for each service, which service has enough staff, or which service needs more staff, things like that. So that's just an example of some of the things that we do. And the capacity and demand model can help us predict for each of the service which ones we need to apply more resources into. So that's how we bring to light, because at the end of the day, when you don't have capacity, it's something that affects patients' wait time. When we talk about wait time is a challenge that affects a lot of healthcare organizations. So when you don't have capacity, it actually makes an impact on the wait time. You're getting referrals, you're not able to accept referrals because you don't have the capacity. But the capacity and demand models we create can predict ahead of time, so that you don't even have to wait to the point where you're saying, oh, I don't have enough staff. You can predict ahead. We can tell you what is expected by next year, so that before that time, you're able to prepare ahead, so that you don't have issues with referrals coming in, you don't have the resources to attend to them. So that's a classic example of how we use our skills to help to improve the lives of patients. Because at the end of the day, if we're able to put in the resources that we need, the wait time will be reduced. Patients will not have to wait that long. And at the end of the day, everybody is able to see their doctors or get treated when they should.
Yeah, that's a true life example. And I can imagine for those of us who are not data scientists, not really appreciating all the work that goes behind aligning resources to the capacity and ensuring that you mentioned capacity and demand model. And that's something that you use to track the patient demand versus what you have, and ensuring that you're running a more efficient service. So I'm sure they really appreciated that. So despite your demanding role, you dedicate significant time to mentorships with organizations like Next Tech Girls and Building Digital Health Capacity in Africa. Many women want to give back, but feel they don't have the time or aren't senior enough. What was your motivation to start? And what is the one piece of advice you have for a woman who wants to begin lifting as she climbs?
One of my motivation came from gratitude. I remember how hard it was transitioning from the self-doubt to the long nights to juggling of work, family, and when I first started, I didn't particularly have a mentor at the beginning. And there might have been some mistakes that I made at the beginning, which I could have avoided if I had mentors. But along the line, I did get mentors. And knowing how my journey has been, I know exactly how it feels to be starting. So that's why I just feel like it's my calling, or this is my purpose. I'm meant to be out there helping people, especially women, because we women, it's a lot more difficult for us. We have a lot that we're dealing with. We deal with family, we deal with our personal lives, we deal with motherhood, our motherhood journey, and everything takes a toll on us. So because I know all these challenges, I have taken it my personal responsibility to help as much women as I can.
I'm sure a lot of women would appreciate it because we do go through a lot and we're carrying a lot. And self-doubt is one of those things that we carry with glee almost. So having mentors like yourself who are saying it's okay to feel fear, but it's also important to move even when we are afraid. So you've also engaged in global advocacy as a participant with the UN Commission on the Status of Women. How was participating in these global dialogues on gender equality influence your perspective on your own work and the role of women in tech?
Wow. My experience with the UN Commission on the Status of Women, CSW 68 and 69, CSW 68 last year and CSW 69 this year, has been like an eye-opener for me. I mean, I could hear directly from women from across the continent, from policymakers to those working in rural communities, people facing their different realities, And at the end of the day, it gave me a different perspective. It reminded me that my journey isn't just about personal growth. It's much of a bigger story about inclusion and representation, And it also reinforced why I advocate for women in tech, especially in Africa, because I feel like technology shapes the future. And if women's voices are not included, the future will be incomplete. In the tech sector, women are still highly underrepresented. Apart from the fact that they're highly underrepresented, we have women who want to take up leadership positions, but they don't feel confident enough. So things like this help us to drive inclusion within the tech sector or generally around the world. So the experience made me see that in the technical work that I do, data is powerful, and even more powerful when we're using it to promote equity or to promote inclusion. So it was just an eye-opener. It's been an amazing experience for me so far, just being able to interact with policymakers and women from across the continent and saying that we do a lot of talk, but just actually knowing that we can actually take action. Yeah.
I mean, you're one of the 20% of the representation of women in tech in Nigeria, which is such a low number. We could definitely do more with women like you. And you are a Tech Woman 100 award winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a mentor and a senior analyst at the NHS. When you look at the portfolio of your life's work today, both your official job and your advocacy, what is the common thread that ties it all together?
For me, the common thread has always been a case of making an impact through the insight that I create with my work and finding my purpose through people, basically. And in summary, what that simply means is that my work in the NHS, I'm using data to solve real operational problems, analyzing things like appointment threads, tracking referrals, monitoring waiting lists, building capacity and demand models just to help patients to be seen sooner, for example. It also means I'm making an impact. I'm using my skills to improve the life of somebody. And at the same time, knowing that, and in my advocacy, I'm not just creating impact through my work, I'm also out there helping people. So at the end of the day, I am advocating for women, especially, like I said, women are highly underrepresented. We have to help build confidence. We have to help women get more interested in tech roles. So my advocacy is about helping others find their own space, making sure that I am being a good example or being a role model to a woman, showing women that, and even young people, that things like data is not just numbers. It is a tool that we use for change. So I think that's like the thread together. I'm just not making an impact through my insights. I'm also fulfilling my purpose through people.
Yeah, that's such a great synergy to have the technical skills to build around data and at the same time make an impact. So we women, we need to be in those rooms where technology is being built so we can add our own perspective to provide a more holistic solution. I want to ask this question. You know, your journey has been quite extraordinary. You've been through a lot of changes. Your transformation is clear. I imagine you didn't do this alone. What support systems did you find yourself leaning on to help you remain focused throughout your journey?
Honestly, I think one of the greatest blessings that I have is the support I have, like, from my partner, my husband, because there's hardly any time that he doesn't support anything that I want to do. I always say that having a supportive partner is actually the life hack that nobody told us about, because if I didn't have a supportive husband, I wouldn't be able to do half of the things that I do. When I was going for my master's, I had a target. I wanted to make a distinction. Honestly, I wanted to do so well. And I knew that going with my son was like 18 months old as of then. And I knew that going with my children, it would be a lot of work because, childcare here in the UK is a challenge and everything. And I just wanted to go to school, earn my degree, make good grades, and come out really well. When I was trying to make the decision, I spoke to my husband about it, and he was like, see, you know what, don't worry about the children, because at first I was a bit skeptical about it, and he was like, don't worry about the children. I can handle this. Just go, do whatever you have to do, and don't worry about them. And even when I was in school then, sometimes some things would happen with the children and he wouldn't even tell me, because he knows that once he tells me that, I won't be able to focus. And he would just tell me when maybe he has resolved it or he has sorted it out, and he'll be like, oh, see what happened. And I'll be like, really? Why didn't you tell me that? And he'll be like, he didn't tell me because he wanted me to just focus, because he knows how important it is for me to achieve get my degree. So I always have that support. Even now when I'm in the UK now, I have a job. I travel a lot for conferences, to attend tech events, because I want to learn. Learning is something I'm very passionate about. And every time I want to go, he's always very supportive, and he's like, don't worry, just go. I'll look after the kids. You know, I've had that support, and honestly, it has been like a pillar to me, if I'm being honest. And this is what has really gotten me to this point, because sometimes when you don't have this kind of support, you would face a lot of challenges. And some of those challenges I could have faced, I didn't experience them because he was always there for me to hold it up for me. Even when I'm staying awake, sometimes he's helping me put the kids to bed and all of that. So it has been a journey that I have gotten support. And even my children, it's funny. So my daughter, she's 8. And as of then, when I was going for my master, she was just like, I think she was 5 then. And I always have conversations with her. It doesn't matter how old she is. So I told her, oh, mommy's going away for a year. How do you feel about that? She was like, yeah, I'll be all right. I'll be fine. And that kind of gave me, it made me feel sweet. A little bit more relaxed, you know? Yeah. And even when I went for my master's, I used to be I was actually involved in what was going on with them. I would do video calls in the morning, sometimes in the evening, help do homeworks with video calls. I was still being a mom. I was doing my mom remotely.
Yeah, remote
and
mom.
when I would have video calls, sometimes she would ask me, oh, when are you coming? When am I going to see you? I'll tell her, you see. And then she was really supportive. My son was much younger. He didn't really know what was happening. But my daughter was really supportive, surprisingly. So yes, I have a blessed family, which I'm really grateful for, because honestly, without their support, I wouldn't have come this far.
Yeah, it's so incredible how the validation from family telling you you can do this, will be fine, how it spurs you on and it gives you that urge, and it also makes you feel a sense of I'm doing the right thing. Okay, so finally, for the woman listening who's just heard your incredible story of reinvention and purpose, what is the one belief she should hold on to as she begins to design her own next chapter?
Well, what I'll tell the next woman would be, there is no such thing as when the time is right. There is no perfect time to start something. And it also doesn't matter even if you fail in the process. Just start something, because I think the biggest danger is when you don't do anything. Every experience I've had in my journey has been a lesson. So I feel like there is no right time to say, oh, I want to be ready. I'm waiting to be ready. I didn't mention when I started my business, there was a business intelligence certification that I did. And when I started that certification, I was 4 months pregnant. And to be honest, I was like, is this the right time to start? But even if I had hesitated, I probably would have never started, because by the time I have my baby, I do one thing or the other, time would pass, and so I feel like there's never a right time to start. You can just start something small without putting yourself under pressure, because of course sometimes you might find yourself putting yourself under pressure, but without putting yourself under pressure, you can just stop, like by taking baby steps. Start every day. You can do one just small thing today. Tomorrow you build another thing tomorrow. The little things that you did, little efforts you made, builds into momentum. So no matter how small or no matter how unready you think you are, just start from somewhere. And as you go every day, you would see that you're growing. As time goes on, you see that you're growing. When I started, the things I did not know, I know them now. Where I started from and where I am now, looking back, I've seen that I've grown over time. Even the fear I had then, I have overcome them. So you just have to just start something. That's what I would say to someone, another woman who's trying to start a new career.
I hear you say progress over perfection. Start something, start anyway, even though you don't have it figured out, just start. And it's been such a great pleasure, so insightful having you here today. I'm so proud of how far you've come. And I'd like to say a huge, huge, huge thank you for joining us today on the We Win podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So guys, I don't know, I felt a lot of passion in there with purpose. I felt Anne talking about her drive to make an impact and using technology to help her drive to combine her job with her purpose. That gave her a lot of ambition, and she wants to help other women do the same. The truth is, women, we are underrepresented in the tech ecosystem. We need to come forward and take our place at the table so that we can drive solutions that include our needs and our perspective. I want to thank you all for listening to the We Win podcast, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you and God bless.